But I want to ask you this. Here's one of the things that really haunts me. I call it Southern Strategy 2.0. You know, we think of Barry Goldwater and Richard Nixon, Southern Strategy, the welfare queen narrative, the Willie Horton ad, all that good stuff. But now what I'm seeing that hurts my heart, I'm seeing people in our community fall for that Southern Strategy remix, the trans issue. I mean, I've been in the barbershop and I'm like, yo, y'all sound like white people in the 80s talking about the welfare queen. Mm-hmm. Like, how can you fall for this? And I've been in the shop and they've said, well, I don't like Republicans, but they write on all that gay shit. On the immigrant issue, trying to convince us that the reason why we don't have a fair wage is because of immigrants. What was the reason why in the 1970s or the 1960s? You know, but I see some folks falling for it. And it really, even if it's a few percentage points, it really concerns me. And Democrats have not been able to figure out how to combat hate messaging. Kamala Harris tried. Folks don't care about policy. Kamala Harris didn't go low. But it's Southern Strategy 2.0 where, you know, Barry Goldwater jumping for joy in his grave. Like, oh, we can pull in other voters, you know, with some hate messaging. And that, I think, is really going to harm us in the future. What are your thoughts on that? How that even impacts our community?
Oh, 100%. You know, I don't go to the shop very often, as you can see. But when I do, these are our conversations. I'm sitting in the chair. I'm hearing things that are bigoted. What Trump has figured out is that he's given people in our community, especially black men in our community, a whole different category of people to hate. And there are people who will not just fall for it. There are people who will revel in hating somebody else and having somebody else to look down upon. One of my arguments that I always try to make is write me the law, brother. The law that you want that discriminates against trans people, but somehow never hurts us, write it for me. Write it for me, and I will tell you how that plays out for you. Right? Because one of the things that people need to understand, again, from my expertise about the law, is that there is no version of a law that you can write that discriminates against trans people and discriminates against gay people, but somehow can't be rolled back around to discriminate against black people. There just isn't a version of that law. But by all means, brother, try to write it, and I will show you how. I will show you how they will use it against you. Right. And I think so instead of asking for solidarity, because look, most people in our community, most black men that I know, I can just play like solidarity. We should just be better than they are. And you said it's only a small percentage of people who don't agree with me. Right. You know, 75, 80% of people like me, people who look and talk like me, will agree about the larger issues of solidarity and tolerance. But for the very small percentage of people who aren't going to go for the solidarity route, I ask them to go back into their own self-interest. Write me the law that discriminates against the immigrants you think are coming to take your shit, but that doesn't get used against you. Go ahead. I will wait for you to write it, and then I will show you point by goddamn point exactly how they'll turn it around against you, because they've done it before. People got to remember, it is rare that the law just says we can have all these great things except niggers. Like, that's not actually how they write the laws ever, right? It's always written in this race neutral way, but then they enforce it, they apply it in a racially unneutral way, right? They apply it in a bigoted way. And so if you give them the legal power to discriminate against the people you hate, rest assured, brother, they will be coming around to hate you next, right? There's an old, and I'm such a nerd, I'm going to go here on your show, and I apologize, but there's an old, Twilight Zone episode that I love that I think perfectly explains this problem. The guy comes in, again, it's an old black and white literal Twilight Zone episode. He comes into this kind of stable two-family, two-parent house and gives them a button. And he says, if you press this button, you will win $1 million, but something horrible will happen to somebody you don't know.
Yeah,
And the
I
whole
saw that
episode is
episode.
family trying to figure right. And at the end
I
of
remember
it,
that.
hit the button, they get the $1 million, and then the guy comes back to take the button away. And the family's like, "Where are you taking the button?" And he goes, "To somebody you don't know."
Mm.
It always comes back around to you. If you vote to hate people, if you vote to discriminate against the people you hate, the people who hate you will be at your door tomorrow. And so
Mm.
that's how I try to, again, for the very small percentage of people who you can't get with like empathy and decency, I
Mm.
try to get them on self-interest. There is no way to discriminate against trans and gay people that cannot be used to discriminate against black and brown people.
I love this, and we can even take it recently to Florida. They had that "Don't Say Gay" bill. Less than a year later, they had the Anti-Woke Act. Less than a year later, and I said that "Don't Say Gay" bill, something else is coming. I promise you. Anti-Woke Act, and also so many black folks are gay and trans. Like, come on. But
again,
yeah,
you can't even, not even trying to get people to understand that aspect, right? Just to
right.
understand self-interest. I in my book, I have a whole chapter about how "Don't Say Gay" leads exactly to "Stop Woke," and
Yeah.
but from the same forces, right? The people who were just like, "Well, I don't want them trans athletes running a race," like as if you freaking care. When the last time you watched girls track and field in high school, please let me know about that, right? Please show me the picture of you out there with your popcorn being like, "That girl, something wrong with her, she shouldn't be so fast." Like, why do you care? But anyway, right? That exact same argument for you shouldn't have trans athletes in women's sports is what leads to my book getting banned. It's what leads
Absolutely.
to the African American Museum of History to getting shut down by the
That's
Trump
right.
administration. It's the same intellectual argument that they are playing with. They're just giving
Mm.
you the victim that you want when you're looking.
All right, y'all, pick up the book. It's already a New York Times bestseller. Keep it on that list and spread the word. It's called Bad Law: 10 Popular Laws That Are Ruining America. It's really great. It covers everything from voting rights to flying, like we said. There's that history in it that I know y'all love. It's such an honor to have you on the show. I admire your work so much. Dr. Christina Greer connected us, so I'm just so happy to have you on, man. It really is an honor. If folks are not following you for some reason, how can they follow you?
First of all, Dr. Ear is the best.
She's amazing.
I am at Elie NYC on Blue Sky and still technically Twitter, although I'm not really doing that anymore because I value my sanity. And I write twice a week for The Nation magazine. I'm the justice correspondent there. That's where I do most of my work.